this point in time, we will have the roll call, please.
Christopher Caldwell. I'm sorry, Christopher Caldwell.
Here.
Luis
Good evening.
Garcia. Good evening.
Here.
Curtis Gardner.
Here.
Oliver Howe.
Here.
Barbara Miller.
Here.
Vernon Payne.
Here.
Susan Stapleton. It appears that she is arriving.
Here.
Thank you, Susan. And Larry Tolbert.
Present.
Staff present are Shelley Dusick, CSWEP Liaison and HR Director, myself, Patricia Vargas, Recording Secretary, and Assistant Chief Green. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the November 9, 2021 Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board. Just a reminder that for public comment, please call 269-226-6573 and leave a voicemail message limited to 3 minutes. During citizen comments, your voicemail message will be played back for the good of the order. Thank you.
Next on the agenda are comments that I will make regarding the citizens' comments at our 10-12 meeting. First, I would like to begin by saying to our citizens, we heard you. We heard you loud and clear in terms of your concerns. And there were many of you who called in and expressed those concerns. To that end, I'm calling for a meeting of the board in closed session so that we can have in-depth conversations about the concerns of the citizens that were expressed on October 12th. And I want to thank particularly Mr. Tolbert for calling to our attention that we need to be absolutely perfectly clear with the community about those things which we have purview over and those things which we do not. As concerns the police actions that were of concern to our citizens while interacting with the houseless, those things will go through the standardized process as established by the Office of Professional Standards. And as it goes through that process, those complaints will come to this review board upon appeal. And at that point, we are able to engage as a board in addressing those specific complaints as expressed over the homeless housing event. There were also many calls that asked that the charges be dropped against the citizens who were charged during that event. That is not under this board's purview. I think that at some point after the complaints enter the system, the board will have the opportunity to review those types of discussions and conversations, but not until then. And we have no jurisdiction over the outcome of any civil complaint or legal complaint. We are strictly a review board, and we make recommendations and provide advice on policies, procedures, and practices. But I do want to assure the citizenry that this board heard you clear, and I am calling for us to have a closed session prior to the next public meeting. Thank you. We will hear comments on our minutes from 10/12/21. Are there any edits, additions, deletions of those minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the adoption of those minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Support Barb Miller.
All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No, same assign. It's unanimous. The minutes are adopted. Now we will go to the PCR report.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. They provided in your package the information regarding PCR complaints that went through. We have added in the month of October PCR complaints. I think you have all the information. Chairman, I think maybe the best way to handle it, if there's anyone that may have any specific questions about any of the monthly ones that's on our transparency page that we have for the department, but everything is updated as of today. I don't know if we lost the chairman. He looks frozen on my screen. I don't know if anyone else's.
It's frozen on my screen also.
All right. Maybe. I was hoping I wasn't frozen.
If we could wait a few minutes, I think you
Sure.
logged off and we'll log back on. Thank you.
I apologize. I lost some connectivity there, but I'm sure that my colleague, Mr. Howell, stepped right in.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was my responsibility. Sorry.
It could happen. It could happen again. So okay.
I'll be ready next time, I promise.
I apologize. Where are we?
Mr. Chairman, I'm a golfer, so we can do a mulligan here. We can do a retry here. But as I mentioned earlier, that each board member has the new package. We've included the month of October's complaints that came through. And as if anyone in, it's also all the information is on the public safety's transparency page. So if any board member has any questions about the current status, I'd be happy to address any concerns or questions that you may have.
Any questions or concerns for Assistant Chief Green? Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Activity tracker updates.
Good evening, Chair Payne and board members. Thank you. The citizen comments, I'm sorry, the activity tracker is included in your packet. There are no updates or any additions I would like to speak to. However, I'd like to mention to the board that I am scheduling a meeting with Chair Payne to go through the activity tracker in its entirety so we can update it. There are some board members that are no longer here. I need a better understanding on some of the projects. So I'm scheduling a meeting with Chair Payne, and we may very well ask that some of you join as well to give us your input on some of those committees that you're part of. I'd like to move forward on some of these projects, but I need a better understanding. So thank you, and I appreciate your time with that. And Chair Payne, I will be reaching out to schedule something as we discussed soon.
And Ms. Dusick, if it is appropriate, we can invite the entire board to participate in that meeting. And at that meeting, we can also go over some of the things that we need to discuss as a board as it relates to some of the concerns that the citizens have about the functioning and operations of this board, if that is okay with you. So we can
Absolutely.
combine those two and
Absolutely.
not have to have several different meetings. Find a time
Certainly.
that's convenient for our board members and staff and perhaps chief here. And
Okay.
we can move forward on all of that.
Thank you. I will take that under review as well. I appreciate that, Chair Payne.
Thank you so much. Well, moving right along, board member comments. Board member comments, please.
Me?
Yes, Ms. Miller.
Hi, I just wanted to comment on last month's meeting in terms of, for some reason, I don't know why, but I went and looked at Facebook and watched our meeting through there. And there were a bunch of comments about that must have given the appearance that no one was at the meeting except for you, Chair Payne. And that wasn't true. We were all there. We weren't sitting there live, but we were there. And I just wanted to make that comment for the public to hear that it wasn't you alone. We were right behind you. Thank you.
Well, you were right at my side. And so, but that's a very important point to make. And I observed the same phenomenon because as people came off of live on their screens, I think the screen disappeared. Is it possible for that screen to stay up, although it's not a live screen, so that the general public will know that everybody's still in that particular meeting? I think that's the way they handle it with the city commission, if I'm not mistaken.
And thank you, Chair Payne and Director Dusick here. I will address that question. Thank you, Barb Miller, for bringing this up. This was a concern to us as well. What happens in these meetings, and it was during commissioner or citizen comments, where the comments were long in nature in its entirety. And I think what happened is some of us turned our cameras off to relax, shall I say, however, we were all still engaged. What the citizens see though, when our camera goes off, is that we completely go away.
Right.
So to the citizens, Chair Payne was the only one. And then as we would turn our cameras back on, we would appear, then go away. So going forward, we have asked everyone to keep their cameras on because we are all here. But in order to stay on the screen, we need to be present.
Well, just to clarify, there are quite a few of us who never turned our cameras off.
That's true. That's
And if you had a blank screen and only Chair Payne was showing, then it was something else that was at fault.
Thank you. And the city's IT department is on as well, so I'm sure they can look into it if that becomes an issue. So thank you, Mr. Tolbert.
Yes, and that's much like, I think, Mr. Tolbert, that's much like the city commission operates. They may turn their live feed off and have a logo up, but that logo is showing. But when we met, nothing showed. The live feed didn't show, and your individual personal logo didn't show. I noticed that early on, and that's why I didn't turn my camera off, because I noticed that you were disappearing, and I knew you were there. And so that was Barb, that was a tip for me not to turn my camera off. So thank you very much for bringing that issue up, Ms. Miller. Appreciate it. Any other board member comments?
What is the timeline for like hearing about the OAR implementation? I mean, I know we already talked about that 2 meetings ago, like those recommendations. But I didn't know if this group was going to follow up on those, or if we've kind of passed that off to the commission, or if someone could just kind of speak to what our next steps are, if any. I'd be curious to hear about that.
I will defer to Ms. Dusick on that question.
Oh, thank you for that. And I was going to ask Assistant Chief Green if he would speak to the OIR report since he has firsthand knowledge and he's in that report. I'm sorry to pass the buck, but I do believe he would be better to address this.
Yes, on our transparency page also, it gives you where we are and the recommendations that was made by the OIR. If I'm not mistaken, we have just completed the 30-day cycle. We're now into the 60-day cycle. And I will also suggest, Chairman,
We lost you, Chief Green.
to public safety in the city of Kalamazoo.
Sorry, I think you cut off.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. Can
We
you hear me now?
though. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah,
Right
Yeah,
after we suggest.
right. Well, I apologize. I just had a flash that says my internet is unstable. And I'm in my office. What I was going to suggest is that on our webpage, on our transparency page, we had the full updated OIR report where we are with the 30-day. We just completed the 30-day cycle, if I'm not mistaken. We're going into the 60-day cycle. But I would also suggest that what we can do is when we have the meeting that Chairman Payne was talking about, and also Ms. Dusick was talking about, we can go into more details about that too as we continue on through the recommendations. 30, 60, and I believe it's a 90-day recommendation also. And hopefully you did not lose me again because I had another flash of my internet.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
I believe Mr. Howell was referring to the next steps in the minutes from October 12th. There was to be a creation of an OIR report accountability subcommittee consisting of this board members and city commission members. We've just heard from Chief Green on the implementation report. Also, there was a conversation about the earmarking of funds for potential acquisition of an outside consultant that's still in the queue. As are conversations on the union negotiations. So those things are in the minutes from our last meeting. And I think that if I'm understanding Mr. Howell's question correctly, where are we on those issues, particularly the issue of the OIR report and the board's involvement in that going forward in terms of accountability? I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, Mr. Howell. Thank you. And that perhaps can be addressed at the meeting that we're setting up. Okay, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. Any other staff comments?
Chairman Payne, I apologize. Can I add one more thing on a separate note? And I don't know if this is the proper place. And maybe we can do it towards the end. I just want to let you know that public safety is opening up the hiring process again. And I don't know when you want me to bring that up, sir.
When you're opening up the request?
No, the hiring process. We're opening up the application for hiring again. And I don't know when you want me to just do a quick announcement on that on the agenda.
The sooner the better. And
Okay.
we usually receive an email message that alerts us that the process is beginning. We get the date and location and times and the availability of perhaps one or two of our board members to attend. But the sooner the better. That way people can, our board members can get that on their calendars.
But it should be coming real soon. The application process will be open starting tomorrow, November 10th through November 28th, for anyone who's interested in becoming a public safety officer. Then once it closed and we know exactly what numbers have advanced to the next level, we would then be able to lock in a date for the interview in which you will invite the board member to participate in. But we wanted to make sure that if you knew of any members or anyone who might be interested, that we are now opening up the application process starting tomorrow, and it will end on November 28th.
Previously, we've handled that on a first come, first served basis. So the board members who are interested, let us know, and then
Yep.
If there's one opening, two openings, or however that's to be handled, we proceed on that basis.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other board member comments?
Chair Payne, if I could, this is Director Dusick. I would like to address the comment about the union negotiations.
Yes, please.
So in the union KPSOA, which is the Supervisors Association, is currently underway. And I spoke with that union president and vice president. Both are open and willing to meeting with this group, and we will share some negotiation strategies. So I will be reaching out to you to schedule a time for that.
Thank you so much. And thank you for following up on that request from the board.
Absolutely.
That's much appreciated. That will give our citizens presence during those conversations and discussions about that contract. And that's so important because it speaks to transparency, and it speaks to the cooperation and willingness of our police officers to want to have citizens participating in that process. So thank you so much for following through on that request. That's very, very, very important.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other board member comments, please? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to citizen comments.
All right, we do have a few of those. One moment. My name is Zachary Laster. I live in the city of Kalamazoo. I complained to the Office of Professional Standards regarding some conduct that Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety was taking that interfered with, well, basically violated federal laws and also interfered with news media's constitutional rights. When emailing back and forth with Executive Lieutenant Danielle Guilds, I was pretty much given the attitude of not caring. I just want to report that that conduct has continued, and as of yesterday, I have spoken with an investigator with a 3-letter agency of the federal government who has now opened an investigation into the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety for violating federal laws. So the lack of oversight and accountability at public safety is getting out of hand, and this board needs to do something about it.
My name is Kay. I live in the city of Kalamazoo. I am calling because we want the sweeps to be addressed. We want the charges against activists who are protecting human rights to be dropped. We want political suppression to end in Kalamazoo, and for the City Commission and the Public Safety Review Board and Jim Ritzema and David Anderson and Vernon Coakley and Victor Green and everybody else to stop being in these rich investors' pockets, because the Time article is very clear when it says that the two bills and all these investors bought this city. And you all are witnessing this violence and witnessing the media twist these stories in benefit of this violence. The sweep, it is getting cold. Houseless people have nowhere to go. They're continuously being policed and taken out of spots and harassed and given criminal records due to this. People are doing life-sustaining activities. I need you all to put human rights first right now, because we are being politically suppressed for defending human rights. All this bureaucracy, all of these fascist and racist people who want to run this country just want to gentrify it. And we spoke clearly about this numerous times. Black Lives Matter. The Northside didn't even know about the Foundation for Excellence, and they are battling environmental racism right now. So I want you all to look into your heart and tell me where the city is going wrong, because this is not going to go away. We are not going to go away. We are not going to be intimidated by the police. We are not going to be silenced. We are going to fight for human rights, because that is our right. It is our right as Indigenous people to defend this land from constant rich white man's attack. because this is how they came. Okay, they came with power, they came with money, and they kicked everybody out just like they did at Ampersand, just like they did at Stadium, just like they did at all the rest of the smaller camps that they went to and kicked people out who were doing life-sustaining activities. We need to address this violence. KDPS cannot continue to do the dirty work of the city who wants to see it gentrified. This is the UN condemns this behavior. And you all are being part of it. You all are making history in Kalamazoo right now. And the city needs to wake up and needs to address this violence and needs to address how we're going to.
And that was a 3-minute limit. And that is also the end of the comments.
Thank you. Thank the citizens for calling in and sharing their thoughts and comments with the board. That is appreciated, that you would participate with your board, the citizens board. So, thank you again. In repeating, we will have a special closed session meeting that Ms. Dusick is going to arrange for us all, and hopefully most of us can attend that meeting. I anticipate that there will be robust discussion on a number of issues of concern to board members and the community, and to KDPS City Manager's Office as well. And so we need to continue to strengthen that partnership, promote transparency and accountability to the community that we all share in. Our upcoming meetings are on December 14th, which will actually be an appeal hearing, and January 11th. I'll take this opportunity to entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we adjourn the C-SCRAB meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Be safe, be strong, and stay in the struggle, my friends.
Have a good holiday.
Good night.